Are you ready? All right, so the way that the science works is that a Mentos, first of all, Mentos works the best. And because the fruit kind have like a waxy coating on it, and the wax ruins the reaction. What happens is if you take this Mento and you, I still have this thing on, and you, let me turn it off. If you take this Mento and you put it under a microscope, you're gonna see all these little divots, kind of like the surface of the moon, right? And what happens when you put it into the Coke, the CO2 is attracted to these little divots, and the CO2 starts to build, okay? All these little tiny microscopic bubbles, they start to build in these little divots, and there's millions of divots on this thing. And you put in a ton of these, you can imagine there's tons of little places for the CO2 to build, okay? CO2 starts getting together, all the little bubbles the little molecules get together, and they produce like a bigger and bigger bubble. This bubble is less dense than the Diet Coke, so it starts to rise, and as it starts to rise to get out, it pushes the Coke up with it. And there's been a lot of experiments about what works better, Diet Coke or regular Coke, and Diet Coke for some reason works a lot better. It might have to do with the chemistry of the Coke with the aspartame and the different chemicals. But we have a special top to this that's going to narrow that geyser. So the more narrow you get it, the higher your plume can be, if you will. Okay, you ready? Are you ready? So we have gotten it up past the roof. So, ready? Here we go. Okay. All right. So one more time, the CO2, it's super saturated with CO2. Sorry, the Coke is super saturated with CO2. That's what the factory does, and it chills it and pressurizes it. That's how it works.
What is that?
Saturated like the solute going into the solvent. Are you ready?
So saturated means solute goes into solvent.
Yeah, it means like an even amount. This is super saturated, so it's got even more CO2 than it's supposed to be. And you heard it when Chloe undid the top. All that excess CO2 came out. Ready? Here we go. Oh, all that CO2 is leaving. What do you think's going to remain? Just the solvents, right? Just the solvent. So once this kind of dies down, now I kind of wish that tube was a little bit taller because then I could get the whole Mentos thing in. I'll have to kind of engineer it, but this looks pretty good. Anybody want to try it?
Did you drink it?